Okay, click the links for the alternative video platforms to join the Telegram, the Discord, or support channel, becoming a member, or the various other coffee, the various other links. I show this guy's picture because this is an adult who talks as if he's not an adult as we go through his article. This is this rise of Twitter speak that is, I don't know, kind of recently happened in the past 5 years. And, you know, if tweens or teens want to talk like that, hey, that's fine. But then it started migrating into 25, 30-year-old women who, for some reason, started to affect this syntax, this way of speaking, like this, or like whatever. I think it was to mimic a younger speaking voice. It may be like an evolutionary thing where they're trying to play younger or something. But then you have men doing it too. Joe Rogan responds to Spotify controversy, vows to do something. That's not how an adult speaks, and that's not how any adult should speak. That's not how an adult male should speak, and that's not how you should speak in the media. Or like, whatever. This is a thing I did, and it's just you're not. I mean, even at 12 years old, you should be kind of moving away from that kind of thing. The other article is by this woman who speaks the same way. I don't know if they, I don't know how they managed to resonate on the same wavelength. They do things like, they call misinformation spreader Joe Rogan has dangerous ties to the far right. Plot twist, anyone we don't like, we're going to prefix in the article with the words dangerous, extreme, or hateful, or far right. Well, there goes the monetization. Oh, shit. Oh, well, there goes the 17 cents off the videos. Yeah, I don't think she calls Blair White and Tim Pool far right YouTubers. So what does that make me, you, and the rest of us who are further to the right than Tim Pool, which isn't that different? Are we like, we're so far to the right, we're not even on planet Earth anymore? Far right Tim Pool, famous fence sitter, and the fence is made out of adult pleasure devices, and Blair White, a very open BLT, very milquetoast takes on everything. I think the most controversial take is maybe adult. There's that adult male on Twitter who wanted to have like a pool party with children and said no adults were allowed. So it was just him and a bunch of children. And Blair did a video on that. This was a couple of years ago. I forget the guy's name. It was, I think, Trusted Nerd on YouTube or Twitter. Yeah, that's a controversial take that adult men shouldn't be around BLT children at a pool party. You don't need your parents there. I'll be there to. Are you kidding me? That's a far right YouTuber. Hey, sign me up for the far right YouTube segment. Anyone we don't like, they're just gonna, everyone I don't like is Hitler. Literally. Really? Because Tim Pool? Seriously? Tim Pool? That's where you're going with Tim Pool. The next thing is Saturday Night Live was never as funny as people seem to remember. They had good actors and some funny seasons, but it was always left-wing, elitist, blue-blooded humor that was always punching in one direction. It wasn't breaking new ground. It wasn't stunning and brave. It was always very, very left-wing, and safe. It was very safe, though it was like pseudo edgy, kind of like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's like they only go in some directions. Anyway, the reason that they do that kind of they include those adjectives, adverbs. It's a stochastic trick for internet search engines to defame the person that they disagree with. It's standard yellow globalist journalism. John Greenblatt, member of the extremist hate group the ADL, founded to protect Leo Franks, a child deleter. There definitely goes the monetization. The alt-left, hateful, extreme, globalist media controls the narrative. We don't. We have alt media, so, we can publish content, but it's not going to get boosted or retweeted by the mainstream media. It's like the recent, I don't even know if I want to get into this. It's recent issues, Asian issues that have been kind of in the news, kind of in the back burner of the news. What happens is, like, Asian reporters, I don't know what percent of reporters are Asian, say like 1 or 2%. They'll cover the story, but the rest of the media, their friends in the media will absolutely ignore it, because the other media people, they know which way the wind is blowing. They don't want to get canceled. They know what the narrative is. So the total media impressions are like 1% of what it should be, because the mainstream media narrative is to ignore the Asian issue. Anyway, the mainstream media is terrified by Joe Rogan, Odyssey, Gap, Telegram, Substack. anything that they can't control, because the control is kind of slipping through their fingers now. And then you look at these soylent pussy weirdos who want to censor you, and you know that these are panty sniffing degenerates who have inflatable girlfriends. My point being is, I don't want these people to determine the narrative for me when I look at them and I hear their views and opinions. And I don't respect these people. They have bad ideas that can't be defended, which is why they have websites where either they turn off comments or they very closely censor the comments and just ban and block people so they can maintain their echo chamber. If somebody doesn't have comments open, well, they're a pussy. And I can say this because I have my comments open. YouTube, the terms of services aren't up to me, but Odyssey and Bit Chute does censor a little bit, but Odyssey is anything goes. So I don't delete anyone's comments on there. And then Telegram is anything goes too. Discord has terms of services, so I can't control that. Believe it or not, the left wing used to be pro-free speech, at least until they got a taste of power. Then they turned into authoritarian douchebags. The reason why is because they have bad ideas that can't be defended in the open marketplace. That is how good ideas rise to the surface, by being discussed openly. You zealously advocate for your position. It is subject to cross-examination. They point out flaws in the arguments, and either you abandon the argument for a stronger one, or you make the argument stronger somehow. If you don't know your opponent's argument, you don't know yours. Oh, well, we can't discuss all things. Well, who decides? Oh, the puppet masters will decide for us because they have our best interests at heart. No, I think we'll decide for ourselves what we can discuss. If you don't want to be a part of it, you don't have to be. Nobody's compelling your. Oh wait, they are compelling speech, aren't they? I guess that's the whole pronoun argument. But it's not really. It's funny. You can have these conversations on YouTube 2 years ago, but not so much anymore. Anyway, so because of censorship, you're always telling a third party to step in between two adults exchanging ideas. Two adults don't need a third adult to step in as their master. That's what your parent is for. There's nobody in a better position to determine the flow of ideas that people may entertain than the primary parties to the discussion who are interested in having that open discourse. If you don't want to listen to Rogan, that's your choice, but you don't get to determine what other free men may listen to. Otherwise, they're not free men. That's kind of lack of censorship is part of liberty. There's a whole bunch of European countries that slowly handed over that liberty to very dangerous people. And now, if you teach your little pug dog to tell a joke, you're going to get arrested for that. That should have terrified people, and that should have got people up in arms. But that shows you the power of cultural Marxism and the sophoric effect of the bread and circuses to placate the masses. Where I'm just going to have I was going to do an English accent, but it would just be an abortion. Sit in front of the TV. It doesn't matter if you're English or American. Like, drink a beer and watch soccer over there or football over here. It's like, we don't need free speech. It's fine. Free speech is overrated. Well, I trust the man behind the curtain to have my best interests at heart. Whatever happened to that old left-wing thing, no kings, no masters? The left-wing seemed to forget that they didn't want to be slaves to daddy government. That changed when they became the government. Joe Rogan, Substack, Odyssey, Bit Chute, Gab, Telegram. These people are terrified of platforms where almost anything goes because they used to be the ones who were able to gatekeep ideas. Now, if we don't want to accept the mainstream media propaganda, we can go get a news feed from Telegram where we can bypass the mainstream entirely. Telegram is fantastic. You can sub to the channels you want, even including mainstream media. I don't think you're going to find like ABC, CBS on there, though. I haven't looked. It's more like Zero Hedge, Gateway Pundit, those kind of. They're mainstream media, and they are definitely controlled ops, but they're secondary mainstream media. Because some of the mainstream media doesn't want to kind of give legitimacy to stuff like Telegram, which is fine, because you don't need ABC, CBS, CNN on Telegram. Like, the idea is to get a fresh perspective, and you only get that with alternative media that you can set up on Telegram or various other stuff. Discord, not so much. Telegram is kind of the way forward for a lot of free speech. And the thing is, they're already trying to shut it down, and Germany's trying to shut it down. It's like dangerous liberty. We can't have an open exchange of ideas. We need to control what people think. No. And, I mean, people are going to get tired of being slaves. I hope. I really hope. Pretty soon, doubting the mainstream media is going to make you a news-denying istophobe, which I absolutely am. Sign me up for that, too. The worst thing the media did was start showing their faces on articles. I look at their gapped mouth, bitch-made faces, and I know that they're drinking the Kool-Aid. And frankly, most of them openly look like they're mentally deranged. None of them look happy. They look like they have a lot of cats, and they're looking for more. Trump's America, am I right? What's there to be happy about in Trump's America? Except, I mean, now you've got Biden, and one would think that they would just be fucking overjoyed. For some reason, they're not overjoyed with Biden in office. Maybe they wanted, I guess they wanted Bernie. Was he running? Bernie, 2016, looks about 200 years old. 2020, I'm still in the race. I'm still 2024, Bernie, 85, running for president 2024. I think even by 2024, even the left wing will look at Bernie, probably in a wheelchair and on oxygen by that time. Like, Bernie, yeah, I know you're as old as Trump and Biden and Hillary and the rest, but like Bernie Sanders looks old. He looks like he's dusty. Like pieces of him are falling off or something. Anyway, I look at Odyssey, Substack, Gab, and I wonder what the mainstream media is going to look like 10 years from now. CNN might not even be around, which is why the concept of smaller subscription media services scares the hell out of them. 90% of the mainstream media is controlled by like 6 companies. That's not diversity of thought. That's the opposite. That's a group of puppet masters who are absolutely controlling the media, which is to control the narrative. Well, you know, politics downstream from culture. You can control people's words. You control people's thoughts. That's why the compelled pronoun issue is so important. And a bunch of other things are important. As soon as you allow people to censor you, it's like you're just handing over the reins of power. Why on earth would... The thing is, what we're seeing is the rise of decentralized media, which is great for us, but it's bad for the man behind the curtain who is eager to control the dangerous flow of misinformation. You know, except I look at these puppet masters, and I don't think that they have my best interests in mind. Do these $100 million Nancy Pelosi? How did Nancy Pelosi get to be worth $120 million? You know, hey, credit to AOC for saying we need to stop representatives from trading stock. Credit to her for that. And I'm sure people talk to her behind the scene. You know, you look at Nancy Pelosi, you're like, hey, you're worth $120 million from insider trading. How did that happen? How come the Security and Exchange Commission didn't call you up? Anyone have an answer to that? Are elected? How many other elected representatives have perhaps one would say alleged breach of fiduciary duty to us, the people they owe the duty of care to? I mean, if you have financial ties to companies that because of your actions are benefiting, which means either the share price goes up or the dividends go up or something. So you have a financial interest in these things that you're doing. Maybe it's in the best interest of the American people that you don't trade while you're in office. Oh, well, yeah, but then I won't get $120 million. She's not the only one. She's the most egregious one at being worth over $100 million. But there are plenty of other people who are also trading, including our guys on the right too. And they're not our guys. There's nobody in office who's our guys. DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, those aren't our guys. They're surface level our guys. DeSantis and Trump, they both made it illegal to criticize Israel and state-funded, anything with state-funded contacts. That's not, that's some of that dangerous liberty. It's like, oh, DeSantis and Trump, yeah, they're our guys. So you guys free speech? Not so much. Not so much. Anyway, some videos I make, it's like it's not the demonetization because, like the 20 cents in the video, it doesn't matter. It's that if it's demonetized, I don't think they will promote it as much because it's not a red video that they're going to not allow. It's kind of somewhere in the orange. Like a green video is like totally monetized, totally fine, but an orange video is not monetized, so they're not going to bother allowing it to come up in the feed as much. And a red video is something they just wouldn't allow. And I guess a black video is something that would you upload it and you immediately lose the channel, which has happened before. Not to me, but to other channels. They've Swim, someone who isn't me, uploaded humorous videos that don't even get you a strike. They just get the whole channel nuked. YouTube has no sense of humor. It's funny, you compare the environment of 10 years ago to now, and it's like, oh shit, get on Odyssey. Get on anything other than YouTube. There's, the biggest live streams now I see, like Flash, EVS, those kind of guys who are the Comicsgate, the Nerdrotic, the Phantom Menace Comicsgate communities, kind of the pop culture community I keep tabs on. I keep thinking if they got on Odyssey and they dual streamed their stuff on Odyssey, it would make the move over to Odyssey so much better. Anyway, I want to say, I'm saying like the decentralized media, which is kind of what we want to focus on, because Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, AOC, they don't have my best interests in mind. I don't think they have your best interests in mind either. And the funny thing about the Twitter spurgs is they always tell you to turn off Fox News. Why would I watch Fox News? That's Controlled Op Incorporated. There's no, I want an alternative to Fox, CNN, NBC, all the other, gatekeepers. Fox News allows fierce debate within a narrow spectrum, but nothing outside of that spectrum is allowed. It's no different from CNN in that regard. They're both con ops echo chambers to placate the cattle. You got to get to platforms that are banned in some countries. Where one of my Bit Chute channels is banned in some countries for being wrongthink, which is like what a bunch of pussies you have to be in whatever European countries. It's like, oh, your channel is banned. Well, get a VPN, my ninja. Where people in some European countries need VPNs to access because they accept that daddy government has the right to decide what ideas you may ponder. That sort of willing acquiescence to mental slavery drives me up the fucking wall. All ideas should be on the table. Censorship gives total power to a third party, and watching so-called liberals support it shows me how successful cultural Marxism has become. Bolsheviks have fought the long war, and they have won, mostly because America stopped fighting them in the 1950s. They just kind of gave up and handed over the schools and the media to these Bolsheviks. What did you expect to happen after 80 years of handing over the reins of power post-war to now? If you control the schools, the school boards, the movement of money, and the media, well, you just hand over the keys to your country, and you took what was a nation in 1955 and turned it into a commercial zone for the very, very wealthy. Have these policies that these puppet masters have enacted since 1955, have they helped the American people at the time, or have they helped the wealthy 1% by giving them cheaper labor? Oh, yeah, they haven't helped the American people. They've replaced the American people. This is probably too base for YouTube. Anyway, I'll put this on Odyssey, and I'll try this again. Like, comment, subscribe, support channel if you can. I'll see you guys all next episode.